So, ask that question again.
Question is, are we creating this video right now? Are we having this discussion to help people channel dark energy, or avoid dark energy, or learn from the dark energy? What are we trying to help people with this message? What are we trying to do?
So one of the things that I do is this right here is a Death Star.
Yeah, I see it.
Except for it's a green Death Star. So if there's darkness, life's about contrast. If there's darkness, then there's also light.
Sure.
So when I'm working on a project, with humility, I'll go into that business model. And usually a CEO that's dressed in a suit and has their face like this, they go into their business, or if the Queen of England went into their business, that business has been so touched that it's not the essence of the real business.
So touched, what do you mean?
If the Queen wanted to hang out at Starbucks, how many people would have to be called? How much traffic would have to be down there? They would get rid of the green-haired woman that works at the Starbucks. Yeah. Every Starbucks, they'd make sure they got rid of her. They'd make sure there'd be a lot of things that would.
In essence,
happen.
Rolling out the red carpet for her to go there.
Correct. So she wouldn't see the real one.
Okay.
So one of the things with adversity and looking like the way that I do, a lot of people don't tighten up with it, so I'm able to see the real thing.
People are willing to, they can stay authentic and be loose because you make them feel comfortable.
Correct. And sometimes I do the other thing. I know a lot of times when I'm in the hood, I have to walk a little more black because they think I'm an undercover FBI agent. I'll be walking also like 5-0. I remember one time me and this guy that owned was a multimillionaire, early 30s, that I was doing team building for his company. We went with this thing called Operation Water. We went and talked to the homeless people, and we were walking, and the homeless people said 5-0 because he's a white guy. It's kind of like has that face of a cop, and I'm walking, and all of a sudden they said 5-0. And I go to him, I was like, okay, they think we're police officers. We need to relax with our walk a little. And then all of a sudden we walk around the corner and we stopped and we talked to these homeless people, just being able to let go to that certain fact. And we went into their world. And even the one guy that I met, he said, you guys got something going on here, because these two women are they didn't leave this situation. They even a drug deal went down while I was talking to the homeless people.
And so when he said you guys have got something going on here, he meant you guys have been able to make everybody feel comfortable so that they're not leaving.
Yeah. And we're there how can we help you? How can we give you money and everything like that? And yes, because this guy gave him a little too much money, the drug dealer came by and they had bought the type of thing. Because I'm like I'd rather give him water and then pay somebody to pass out the water.
Sure.
That's a good idea. That's the thing that Operation Water came from, because when I went down there and I wanted to do that, and I just saw everything that was going on in San Diego, and there's way worse places in America and in the world. Sure. But seeing things that were going on in San Diego, I started crying. I was like, I can't do this. And then I was like, no, your goal is to buy water and then pay somebody to pass it out. I go, you're not alone. I mean, that's my intuition talking to me. Yeah. You're not alone. Do what you're capable of doing, and that helped it.
So what's the point with the Death Star then?
So when I work on a project, so this is the green Death Star, I meet somebody and then I kind of feel into what their pain is. And then I align with it, and then I ask myself in my own way, which path is the most compassionate and life-affirming, and then I have that guide me.
Okay. So you're basically listening.
I feel it when I'm talking to somebody. I feel their energy coming into my heart, and I don't know if that's physically possible by science, but I know
But it's your narrative.
Yeah, that's my narrative, and I believe it, and I'm feeling something more than the average person when they're talking, and I could say, oh, you're depressed, you need this, da 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 da. But the question, which path is the most compassionate? Because how is compassion created? What you do is you take the darkness and then you combine it with love. The way that the Amber laws were created is these people lost their daughter. Her daughter was named Amber, and they didn't say, oh, what we're going to do is we're going to go back to college and study social media, so we'll know how to spread this. So every time somebody does this, they're like, oh no, I'm gonna go to Silicon Valley, I'm gonna create an app to do this. People have lost lots of children,
right?
And all of a sudden, these people, instead of and no judgment on people that lost their children that didn't do anything,
right?
No judgment on that. It's judgment more on the Congress that we should have created laws like this before, which there have been.
And that's what they did, right?
Yeah,
they went, the Amber Alert people, the folks, they went and had a law created.
Yeah.
Right.
But what they did is they probably were not worried about bipartisan. They weren't saying, well, I'm a conservative, I'm only going to talk to conservative type stuff. They used that pain, combined it with love. And I believe that love's more pure than sometimes the love of your own child, because you're like, oh yeah, I love you just as long as you don't do this, and this. And some of those things could be like, I could understand, like all of a sudden you walking away from your child because they killed somebody.
Sure.
I saw a video of a guy around our age that said some racist stuff towards some Asian family, and they got it on video. And his mom said, I'm appalled by what my son did.
Yeah.
Why is that wrong? I mean, in her son's our age, but there's not that much with there, and they don't necessarily need to pile on. But a lot of these people are there, because you can both say, I love my son unconditionally, but I'm gonna help to shape that person.
Right.
So they took the anger that was going on, just like a Michael Jordan would take that anger and use it to push himself to do it. But they took that anger and then they combined it with love, which creates compassion, which gets us the fuck out of the way. So we're not thinking nonpartisan. We're not thinking I'm only going to go to white people. We're not thinking I'm only going to go to crazy dudes with dreadlocks that need to shave. Or I'm going to just go to Christians, or I'm just going to go to, they'll say whoever
anyone who
is open, that's going to do that. I'm going to go out, I'm going to go away. And even though I don't, that these politicians might be going to Dominatrix or whatever the situation is, they get all that stuff out of the way and they get focused. They don't think about, I got to get this degree so I can do this. I got to get this level of status to do that. And I'm not I notice the more and more status that I get, the more and more I'm able to do things. I noticed even with my team, when I got the reader article written about me, the feature, the people that were in my business culture that had seen me do lots of things and were together, they saw me differently. And from the time that article was written, even though I'm thankful for it, I don't think anything from that physically changed except for the way I was seen.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And I felt that way too. I have, I noticed.
This is for you, by the way.
Thank you, brother. I noticed I like to write, and I've always had this story about myself that I'm a good writer.
Yeah.
But I'd never published anything. I got really good grades in an English degree at the University of Utah, and it's fair to say that I'm a decent writer. And then one day I got pissed off about some Mormonism stuff, and I sent in an article to the Salt Lake Tribune, which is one of the two major papers in Salt Lake City, and they published it. And I got treated differently by some people who I know once that was published. Dude, I was no better of a writer the day after that was published than I was the day before. And yet there were people who suddenly were acknowledging that I was a good writer.
Yeah. And we're not against those social milestones.
No, not at all.
Even
I don't have any judgment for the people who are like, oh, fuck, he is a good writer. Maybe that's what it took to realize that.
I know the difference between when I come across a student that's a Lone Ranger, or I come across a student that's successful in a fraternity. I know there's potential for the positive stuff I can help them do to spread a lot more. Sure. I know when I'm talking to a doctor that there's a certain level of respect, but I treat everybody like peers. I meet stuff from homeless people. I come across a lot of people that I'm meeting.
Have you ever had that experience when you treat kids like peers?
Oh yeah.
It is the best.
Yeah.
We do this dad kidcation, me and all my buddies back in Salt Lake, every year. All the dads get all of our kids and we go camping for 3 nights. And we don't, no moms come, it's just dads and their kids. And the kids are starting to get older now, so it's easier to treat a 16 or a 17-year-old like an adult, because they're pretty damn close to being an adult, right?
Yeah.
Physically, they basically are, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, But the younger kids, it's amazing when you just sit down and talk to a 7-year-old or an 8-year-old boy as if he's like one of the men.
Yeah.
It's amazing to watch him rise to the occasion and to speak more eloquently and to like hang in your conversation, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because you're just treating them. I mean, there's like a famous quote from someone that said, if you treat a man as he ought to be, then he will be.
Yeah. One of the things on San Diego State campus, a lot of times, as wise as I am, I just did the opposite of what the culture was doing.
Okay. Like, give me an example.
So a lot of the professors called the students kids.
Yeah.
And
Dude, I have caught myself doing that in law school because a lot of the kids or the students who I'm studying with, they're 22, 23, and it is not fair for me to refer to them as kids. They're not fucking kids.
And I want to talk about the essence of that, not necessarily the structure of that. I want to talk about the essence of that. So African Americans were called boy for a long period of time. A lot of times we call the apple isn't far from the tree. A lot of times, we just discovered gravity. There's something from the tree fell down.
Yeah.
So
you were saying African Americans
were called boy for a long period of time, and that energy a lot in our culture. A lot of time we call women girls. I made a joke because I'm just being fully transparent. I made a joke to some pilots saying, "Can we still call the place where you fly the plane the cockpit?" and they laughed, and there's like, yeah, it's like people are too touchy nowadays. It's like we have girls that are pilots, and I was like, oh fucking good. And sometimes when people use that tone, I was like, it's not worth me even talking to them. No, I'm not gonna like try and explain it. That's
what I was talking about earlier. Trying to persuade someone in that situation, like I'm just gonna let them be.
Yeah, right? For sure. And you can call women girls. Girls fits in songs better than women.
Sure.
That word. Girls' night out sounds a lot more fun than women's.
What about Neil Diamond though?
What was that?
Girl, you'll be a woman soon. Girl and woman.
Yeah.
No, I get your point. Like, I don't think you're saying that you can't ever refer to women as girls, but there is a time when it's like it's akin to somebody calling a black man a boy. It's not okay.
Yeah. And you know what the best I forgot what I was gonna say. Boy, I forgot. Do you have anything?
Girl, you'll be a woman soon. Boy, it's not fair to call girls. It's not fair sometimes to refer to women as girls, just like it's not fair to anyone paying attention. Nobody paying attention would say it's okay to call a black man a boy. It's fucking not. I don't think there's probably ever a circumstance where it would be okay for me to call a black man a boy, especially given the racial history. And I think if we look at the gender inequality throughout our history, it is equally, I probably need to be more aware of that it is probably not fair for me to ever call a woman a girl. And maybe I'm being overly sensitive, but then that comes full circle to your point of like channeling energy with people. You have to read the room. You have to know who you're dealing with. And I don't know.
Even if you're the most conscious and sensitive and always looking at this, there may be energy in the form of you calling somebody a girl. You may be channeling your inner Archie Bunker.
Sure.
It may be in the room, and I have to be mindful of the fact that I might do that at times too.
So help me understand how this all plays into the dominatrix. So this is a woman who gets paid to basically be mean to people. I'm not trying to judge her.
For sure.
And she sees herself as a healer.
Correct. I see her as a healer to a certain point, but I think there's level of healing, and some stuff has less side effects, because if you think of healing as medicine, whatever modality that it is, medicine usually has side effects. So so the question is, what are the side effects of going into the darkness and being treated like that? And if you think, oh, I treat people like this all the time, so I'm just going to be treated like shit for a while. Is that healing the cycle? Is that repeating the cycle, or is it breaking the cycle? Because even breaking the cycle still has the word break, which is a violent word.
That's an interesting point. So we're talking about people that get in cycles or get in patterns of behavior, patterns of thinking even. And you're right. Our goal, or typically we talk about breaking that cycle.
Yeah.
Right?
So every time I give a ride to a police officer or somebody that's a pharmaceutical, but we'll talk specifically on police officers, so I ask them, how do they vent? And this one guy said one time that he goes, I go to the range and shoot guns. So it depends what frame of mind he's in when he's shooting the gun, whether that's a break. It could make him more angry.
Yeah.
So if angers are the force, or like that stuck energy,
right.
Or you could go through that stuck energy and that anger, and then all of a sudden it helps create the contrast to help you relax.
Right.
Or it can perpetuate something like Michael Jordan would get mad because of this person said something. But you could be mad just enough to break through and get focused, or you could be mad for 20 years. That affects your health. It affects how you treat people around you. It affects it. You're not building the people around you. You're
not building them up.
Yeah.
So I think we're talking about the idea of breaking the cycle, or of changing our frame of mind, or changing our thought patterns that can be perhaps thought patterns that have become or always were unhealthy. And these people, it sounds like some people go to a dominatrix to do that.
Correct.
Right? And so the question is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? Is it a good thing for us to break a cycle or to change a frame, a pattern of thinking? I think it is. And I don't actually have judgment for the people who are going to this dominatrix to change, to make themselves feel better. I think the question that I ask is, maybe they should stop doing the things that are making them feel bad.
100%. So that's
hard though, right?
That's why the microdosing the darkness on a daily basis can help you always break through without like having a lot of bad shit happening to you, that you can make that change, that escape.
Okay.
Because it can be,
you said you called it microdosing what?
The darkness.
Oh, gotcha.
So it could be losing your parent that finally helps you wake up to making changes, or it could be a butterfly flying by you.
Mm-hmm.
That chaos of a butterfly flying by you
can be every bit as significant as losing a loved one.
Yeah. I remember, I trained myself for a lot of this time, but I remember driving around San Diego and deciding which way I was going to turn based on like the feeling of tingling in my right eyelash, or
just totally trusting your intuition or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I had to break down from a lot of indoctrination. I mean, that word's kind of overused, but there's definitely indoctrination in our society.
Yeah.
I believe
brainwashing.
But also we come together in culture for a certain way. So any community is created by lies and truths, like the balance between there. And because my number one value is to be free, I learn how to just a few of the lies I can align with, just so I can live my truth.
Right. Because you can't undo all of it.
Yeah.
It's what holds us together.
Yeah, we're here for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
So for the rest of the video, what I want to do is I want to stop it right here and then go into strategies to break ourselves out of that.
Great.